What's up, guys, and welcome to another edition of Take On New York Sports. I'm Anthony Heaton. This is episode number 13. I'm recording on Monday, January 4th, 2021. Happy New Year to everybody. Hope it's going well so far. We're going to open today's show with the NFL. Let me just gather myself here for a second. Doug Peterson and the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, every Giant fan, every NFL fan, you hear that name, you hear that team, and your blood pressure starts to rise. And let me first start out by saying it's nobody's fault but our own, but the New York Giants. If we could have just won one more game somewhere along the way, we wouldn't have had to worry about this. But that's not the way it went. We took care of business. Week 17 against Dallas, ended their season. But the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I get they had a bunch of players out. They had the lead. They were playing well. I think they were down by 3 at the end of the third quarter. And Doug Peterson makes one of the most, asinine, jackass sort of decision that you could ever make in sports, in life, in anything. There is no reason at all that he takes Jalen Hurts out of the game. Now, his explanation is, this kid, who we've never even heard of, by the way, has been on the team for 4 years or whatever it was, and he deserves a shot. Are you kidding me? Seriously, that's what you're going to go with? Carson Wentz already said that basically trade me to Philly because he doesn't want to sit there and watch. They drafted Jalen Hurts. I forget the exact overall pick he was, but he's a high first rounder, and he's going to be the quarterback of the future. Whether Wentz gets traded or not, that's, remains to be seen. But Wentz lost the job to Hurts. And Hurts, yeah, he's had his ups and downs, but he's the guy you want to be seeing if you're an Eagles fan, if you're Eagles, management, front office. Jalen Hurts is the guy you want to see. He's the one who's going to be your quote-unquote future. Not this jabroni who I guess was technically the third stringer, but with Wentz being out, he deserved a shot. And again, I'm controlling myself here because the Giants could have helped themselves out by winning another game somewhere along the way. So, again, it's directly their fault. But the crap that Doug Peterson pulled is just inexcusable. And I know there's nothing you can do about it. He said what he said, and he had his reasons. But we all know the deal, okay? I don't think he's going to tank a game, but there was a little bit of to the Giants, And again, I know another one of their division opponents, Washington, who they were playing, winds up winning the division. So they weren't winning the division, Philadelphia. So it was either the Giants or Washington. So you could say, okay, well, Philly doesn't really care either way. But a move like that, that's so obviously ass backwards, you got to scratch your head and really, what the hell was this guy thinking? And the only thing you could say is, he wanted to screw the Giants. Okay? I said it. I don't know any other way to look at it. And it's just so frustrating because the Giants, they played decent against Dallas. They win the game, obviously, thanks to their defense. But, it's all for naught. We don't win the division, don't make the playoffs, whatever. We were 6-10 anyway. It is what it is. Let's take this defense and let's run with it next season. And speaking of next season, Daniel Jones, big year. Big year for him. I cannot emphasize that enough. He's now in that stage that Sam Darnold just finished up with the Jets. And he didn't look good either. Not at all. And you wonder if now, with the way Justin Fields played against Clemson, do the Jets maybe saying, number 2 pick? Okay, we could take Fields, with Trevor Lawrence obviously going number 1. I don't know, though. Jones is our quarterback next season. That's plain and simple. But it's a big year for him because it's kind of make or break. He's got to have a big year. He cut down a little bit on the turnovers, which was nice to see. But he's got to be, healthy. He's got to be a little more accurate. And he's got to cut down even more on the turnovers. And then we can say, okay, we're confident going forward. We have our quarterback. Because if he has another mediocre year and we don't make the playoffs, maybe we get a high enough draft pick, then you gotta see, is it worth taking a quarterback? Is it worth trading up to take a quarterback? All questions that are going to be answered next year. But that's it on the Giants for now. Season's over. Good season in some respects. I just want to say one thing too. Evan Ingram, Pro Bowler. I like the dude. Good player. But man, he drops a crap ton of balls. Like perfectly thrown passes that go right through his hands or in and out of his chest. And he, whatever he's got to do in the offseason to work on that, do it. Some new gloves. I don't know. Get some of that, the sticky stuff, like in the movie, The Little Giants. Get some of that. Whatever you need to do. Because as a Pro Bowler, quote unquote, you cannot drop those many passes. And in that, the big of situations. Because he did it a ton throughout the season. But that's for us to worry about next season. The Jets, obviously, to nobody's surprise, fire Adam Gase. Anthony Lynn and Doug Marrone also out of LA Chargers and the Jacksonville Jaguars, respectively. Lynn, it was a tough call, I guess. But they had a rookie quarterback going. They underachieved again, which they usually do. And the Jaguars, 1-15, number 1 overall pick. They had nobody though, so I don't know what Marrone was supposed to do. But yeah, so now going forward for the Jets, it's all about the head coach. Who's the head coach, and does he want Sam Darnold? Plain and simple. That's going to dictate if Sam Darnold comes back or not. Plain and simple. So we'll see where they go. The whole Bill Cowher thing is going to start up again. But we'll see what Joe Douglas has in mind. He's going to he's leading the search, I should say, for the next head coach. With obviously Mr. Johnson having the final say. But that's where we are in the NFL. Some good playoff games coming up. Good matchups. We have Colts at Bills, Rams at Seahawks, Bucks at Washington, all on Saturday. And then Ravens at Titans, Bears at Saints, and we finish up with Browns at Steelers. Good for the Browns. You know, they had a good season, 11-5, even without Odell. You know, congrats to them. Their fan base has been waiting for a while. And can they beat Pittsburgh? Sure. Pittsburgh's been stumbling, as we know. But lots of good matchups. And this season with that extra wildcard team, now only one team has the bye. That would be the Chiefs and the Packers. And you get 3 games on Saturday and Sunday, which is, you know, really awesome. So you got wall-to-wall football Saturday and Sunday. All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit to the NBA. And the Knicks, 3-3. Look good so far. Had a little scare the other night with Julius Randle, but he seems to be okay. Progress. That's all you can say. They've been competitive, and tonight against the Hawks is going to be a challenge. You know, the Hawks are much improved, and let's see what the kids can do. Kevin Durant for the Nets has to quarantine for 7 days. They did some contact tracing, and he, you know, I guess was in contact with somebody that tested positive. Even though he already tested positive, I know there's a very, very slim chance that people can get it the second time, but I don't know. I don't know how that works. I guess apparently you still have to quarantine even if you've been, even if you had COVID. But that's where the Nets stand, and the Knicks, like I said, 3-3. Let's see how, the next week or so goes. NHL training camps in full swing. The start times for all the games are released today. Most of the games, as you figure, 7 o'clock. A couple early weekend games in there as well. But yeah, Mika's not at practice. He's quarantining as well. I think he was near somebody. You know, again, the same sort of issue as Durant. So you hope that that's all that is. Obviously, you can't disclose any of that, but that's what the reports are. So Mika, you know, get better if you are sick, and if not, you know, hang around, wait till you're allowed back at training camp, and let's be ready for the season, which Rangers Islanders back-to-back to start on January 14th. Going to be awesome. We're going to finish up real quick with the Major League Baseball. And first, we'll say congratulations to Phil Hughes, former Yankee, former Twin, has called it a quits. 12-year career. Never really reached his full potential. He had, you know, a decent run there with the Yankees where he was pretty legit. But he was, you know, mixed in with Jabba Chamberlain. And the two of them were supposed to be, you know, number 1 and 2 starters for the next 15 years. And, you know, Jabba disappeared, went to Detroit a little bit, but, you know, he didn't do much. And then Phil Hughes went to Minnesota, a couple more decent seasons there, and that's it. Calls it a quits. So congrats to him. And the last thing I want to touch on is, no, not DJ LeMahieu, because nothing's going on there, but Masahiro Tanaka says basically he's going to go back to Japan and play if he doesn't re-sign with the Yankees. So first things first, there goes basically all his leverage. So we were already going to get him cheaper than what we've been paying him. But him basically saying Yankees or Japan puts us in the driver's seat big time. And let's get it done. I don't want to hear that you're not interested in bringing him back, because money's not the issue with him. It's not going to cost a lot. So if they don't bring him back, it's strictly because they didn't want him back, which to me is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The guy's been a workhorse. He's pitched big innings for us. And he's been just, I'm not going to say great, but he's been really, really, really good. And it's not like he's 40 years old. I think he's in his early 30s. And he's not looking for a long-term deal. Give him, 1 year, 2 years, and bring him back. We need that veteran sort of presence to go with Cole at the top of the rotation. Because if you're going to fill out the rest of the rotation with kids, okay, I'm fine by it, because a lot of them have big, big upsides. But you got to give me another veteran at the top of that rotation. And don't tell me 27, 28-year-old Jordan Montgomery is that guy. Because I'm sorry, but he's not. So that's where we are, guys. I'm going to do another show Friday. And then depending on how everything goes, I'm going to try to do a live show the following week. A little bit earlier, though. Give people a chance to call in. But, follow me on Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. You'll have all the information. Take on NY Sports. And we'll touch base again on Friday, guys. All right? Until then, be well.